it's not really that I'm bar humbug, it's just that I'm not particularly ho ho ho. Hey folks, it's Finn. Welcome back folks, lovely to see you. So, this week I realised that it's just a couple of weeks until Christmas, and with that realisation came an absolute rush of panic, followed by guilt for not being prepared, for not creating Christmas content, for just generally not engaging in Christmas. And now this is a common feeling for me at Christmas, where every year I intend to really embrace it and enjoy it, but it never pans out that way because I just find it really hard to get excited about Christmas. So in today's video, I want to share some of the reasons why that is, and also talk about some of the ways that I manage Christmas around feeling like this. Because I know I'm not alone. There are lots of people like me who also don't enjoy Christmas. And when you don't enjoy Christmas and you see so much joy around you, you can think that everyone loves Christmas except you. But I know I'm not alone. There are people that are struggling because of COVID and Christmas. There are people who have mental health issues and struggle because of Christmas. There are people in our LGBT community that struggle because of Christmas. So perhaps by sharing my thoughts on why I struggle and some of the ways that I cope with it, it might be useful. But before we get stuck in, for anybody who is new, a very, very big welcome. My name is Finn, and here on this channel I create content on gender transition, LGBT life, mental health and personal development. So if you've been watching my content and enjoying it, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel, which you can do by pressing the big red button below, and also check out the join button for channel memberships. It really helps to grow my channel and get my videos seen, and plus if you tick that notification bell, you'll also be notified whenever I upload anything new. So let's talk about me and Christmas. For those who have been watching my content for a number of years, you will know that I'm just not the biggest fan of Christmas. It's for a number of reasons really. You know, I've just had lots of bad experiences around Christmas growing up, and lots of loss as well. You know, I lost my mum barely 2 years ago, and that makes Christmases difficult. And those who watch my content will know that every year I kind of say that I'm going to try and embrace Christmas and do things differently and find a way to enjoy it. Last year Chris and I just escaped for Christmas because it was the first year without mum, and that really helped to actually just not have that Christmas stress for a while. And then this year I was thinking I'd do Vlogmas and try and embrace it because we've got COVID and it's all going to be very difficult, so perhaps I could cheer myself and others up by doing Vlogmas, and that clearly didn't happen. And then bingo, suddenly Christmas is 2 weeks away, and once again I'm getting that rush of kind of guilt for not being this jolly Christmas lover, you know, and it's just frustrating. It really is frustrating, and I wanted to talk about it because I know I'm not alone. There are so many people that find Christmas difficult, whether it's because of losing people, just generally bad Christmas memories. It can feel really hard. And also for people who, like me, have mental health issues, Christmas can bring its own problems because it's the one time of year when everyone just expects you to be happy. And if you're struggling with depression or anxiety, then trying to be forced to feel a certain way just because it's Christmas can feel really difficult, and it can bring up lots of guilt for not being really happy. And then of course you have our LGBT community, for whom Christmas can also be very difficult. As LGBT people, we can often be cut off from families. We don't have extended families in the same way. And it can be really hard for trans people as well, who are usually very cut off from families. And I remember very early on in my gender transition, the very first few Christmases, before I was on hormones and then on the early days of hormones where I wasn't being read correctly, Christmases could feel really difficult in terms of being with relatives that you've not seen for a while, or perhaps are not practiced in getting your pronouns right and you get misgendered. So that makes Christmas difficult. And then I think globally at the moment we're all in this problematic time of the pandemic where Christmas is just not going to be the same anyway. Lots of people can't see their families. It's not safe for them to see their families. And even where you can see your families, it's going to have to be done very differently. You know, in the UK at the moment, we're looking at lifting the restrictions for a period of time over Christmas so that people can see their families. That's going to push people into a real kind of having to do things, and that's going to be extra stressful, cramming Christmas into a few days. So I don't think I'm alone in saying that this Christmas is just feeling a bit tough. So perhaps I can share some of the things I've done in the past and some of the things I still do now around this time of year to look after myself. I think the biggest one is my mental health, and I shared recently how I've developed a bit of a winter plan because this whole time of year is difficult. I struggle with the lead up to Christmas anyway and the whole Christmas thing. It's that time of year where my mental health struggles anyway because it's winter, and then you've got the pandemic on top. So I've created myself a little winter plan this year, which is lots of things around taking care of my health really. I've started to use a sun lamp, for example, and just started to simplify things in my life to give myself a bit of space. But in terms of specifically Christmas, I think it's really important to just let yourself be however you are and not have to worry about being a certain way just because it's Christmas. And one of the things I do find particularly helpful is connecting with people who get it, who understand. Because when you try and explain to people who love Christmas that you don't, it can be really hard because we don't want to dampen their Christmas and they of course want to lift us up. So that can cause problems. So I have a number of people who I know feel the same way as I do about Christmas, and I know that I can contact them at any time. And this can just be online if you just know when you're available for each other so that you can actually connect. And the same message really is for my LGBT siblings, especially my trans siblings, because Christmas can be really difficult in being misgendered and so forth. So having some people that you know will be available over the Christmas period, even just for a quick text or a quick Skype call, just to have somebody you can talk to that gets it, that you don't have to explain yourself to, that won't try and talk you into feeling a different way, will just listen, nod and get it, can really help. So I call that my Christmas bubble. So I have key people that I've always had over the years that I know I can rely on, that I can message over Christmas without needing to overly explain it and just go, oh, Christmas. And they'll just agree and send me a silly GIF back or something, and you know, that just helps. In terms of mental health, I also find it's really important to take some time out. And I think this is even more important this Christmas, especially for people that are going to see their family around the restrictions, where things might be crammed in to a short period of time in order to see family. So having some ability to get away and have space for yourself is really important. Even if it's just 10-minute walk around the block, just to get some space can really help. It's always really important to bear in mind as well that the images we see on social media are snapshots of time and are often pretty much orchestrated images. You know, you see these perfect families around trees at Christmas, but if you actually talk to most people feel quite stressed at Christmas, and these little snapshots that you see on social media aren't the truth of everything. And I find it really helpful to remind myself of that, because I can miss Mum a lot at Christmas. We've never really done the whole family Christmas, it's just never happened. And so when I see images of families over Christmas, I can get a pang of guilt and envy that that's not my life. But remembering that that's just a snapshot in time, that isn't always the case, that lots of families are unhappy, that lots of families are estranged, that lots of people on their own at Christmas, can help us to feel less alone. So being aware of social media and looking after yourself in terms of your reaction to what you're seeing. It's just really important to have a really solid self-care plan in place for Christmas, to look after yourself no matter how you feel about Christmas. And also to just do Christmas in whatever way works for you, especially this year. Yes, we might lift some restrictions so people can go to their friends and family, but I don't think any of us should feel pressured to, because right now there is a pandemic on. So if this means that you forget the stress and then do it in the new year when things are a little bit easier, then meet up with friends, do that and don't feel guilty. Because yes, Christmas should be about connecting with people and spending time with people, but if it's being done in a way that's just bringing you stress and worry, then that's not really going to help anybody. So if you need to just not do Christmas or do Christmas your own way, then that's absolutely fine. None of this means that I'm bar humbug about Christmas or that I sit around moaning about it. I don't. It's not even that I dislike Christmas. It's just that I'm not a fan of it. And if it just didn't happen, I wouldn't be bothered. You know, but I can still see that there are elements of it I do enjoy. I like a Christmas tree. I like the fairy lights. I quite like the silly t-shirts and the ugly sweaters. I mean, look, I did try and create some Christmas content by creating these jumpers. But maybe this shouldn't be about me trying to justify why I don't like Christmas or trying to dig really hard to find reasons. Maybe it's about time that I stop this dance I do every year with saying I'm going to do it differently and then not, and feeling like I've let myself down. Maybe it's time to just say, do you know what? This is how I feel about Christmas. And then perhaps in the process of letting go for how I feel about Christmas, there might actually be some peace between me and Christmas, which might even lead to me finding a way of doing Christmas that I do enjoy. But if I don't, that's okay. And I guess that's the whole point of this video, and the realisation I've come to recently is that why am I always saying about acceptance, yet when it comes to Christmas I feel I have all these shoulds of having to feel a certain way when I don't. So perhaps it's time for me to just accept it. So that's my gift to myself this Christmas. The gift of just accepting that I feel the way I do. Well, this might have just been a waffle about how I feel about Christmas, but perhaps it's been helpful if you've related, or perhaps I've said something that might help you to move forward in how you feel about Christmas or cope with it. I don't know, but do let me know in the comments below. Let me know how you feel about Christmas. Let me know the ways you cope with it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, folks. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next week. Keep on keeping on.